Okay, folks, welcome. Um, I'm sure you all know me as Father Sweeney, but I want to go through a couple things. You know, so as soon as I came up here, I took my mask off. When I go back out there, I'll put the mask on. That's kind of the drill here. The seating arrangement you saw, we had some people helping with the seating. That's the way we do things every Sunday. So all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't take much to fill up a whole section. It doesn't take many people. There's really only 56 places where people can sit. Now, if they come as couples, you could get 112 people in. If they came as a family of 4, you can get double that. But we don't get a lot of that. On Sunday, we get about 100 people, and most of them come as either singles or couples. Once in a while, a family, but there aren't many families coming to church right now. So it's about 100 people at each Mass. Tonight, we want to go through things, and I want to introduce a couple people. I want to introduce Sister Denise, if she would come up. I have to have people come up and face this way. The teachers will do that too, because we're live streaming this, and the camera's back there. So if they don't come up here and face that way, nobody sees them at home. So Sister Denise is aboard. You know, when she first came here in Advent, she knew she was going to be gone on this retreat. And so she went away, and she was in Assisi for that month and did the retreat. As soon as she came back, all of you folks left. Because of the pandemic, everybody is gone. So, Sister, I don't know if you have any words, if I put you on the spot, or just say, here's Sister.
No, I don't know if you can hear me, but I will speak as loud as I can. I'm just really happy to be here. I feel terrible that I wasn't able to get to know my kids like I had hoped to when I came back from my retreat. Oh, thank you. So I was just saying that I felt so bad when I came in December and January. I had met all of your beautiful children, and was looking forward to getting more involved in the classrooms and in the school when I came back from my month retreat in February, and then March, April, and May. You know, was really looking forward to it and had some things planned. And then, as Father said, I myself was quarantined for 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of March, because I was in Assisi. And in Italy, and you know that the virus kind of started in Italy after China. So then, the day I came back was March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and I think all of the young people were gone that Monday before, or even the Friday before from here. So I'm not sure of like all of us, what the year will hold, but as much as I'm able, I look forward to getting to know your beautiful children into the different classrooms and doing different things if I'm able and as I'm able. So, and I look forward to getting to know you better as well, but God knows how long that may take.
And I just wish I had her energy. That's all I wish. I don't have that anymore. The other person I want to introduce is Deacon Cameron Popick, and Cameron was ordained Friday a week ago, right? So he has all of about 10 days of being a deacon under his belt, but he will be a priest in May. So we welcome him. And he's living here, although he's gone on certain days of the week where he has to go back to the seminary for classes. But I've asked Deacon Cameron to do the prayer for us this evening. So we'll just pray now. And you can say something about yourself if you want.
Okay.
Whatever.
Good evening, everyone. As Father mentioned, I was just ordained a deacon a few days ago, so that's been, kind of a whirlwind getting used to. But I feel very blessed to, be here learning from Father Sweeney and the whole parish staff. They've been so good and welcoming to me. And it'll be a strange year. Normally, you're able to get involved in the school and get to know so many people in the parish. So that's been, tapered down a little bit. But I am really looking forward to this year of, getting to know the parish community here. So we're just going to start with a prayer of blessing for, the new academic year. So let's begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord our God, in your wisdom and love, you surround us with the mysteries of the universe. In times long past, you sent us your prophets to teach your laws and to bear witness to your undying love. You sent us your Son to teach us by word and example that true wisdom comes from you alone. Send your Spirit upon these students, teachers, administrators, and parents, and fill them with your wisdom and blessings. Grant that during this academic year, they may devote themselves to their studies and share what they have learned from others. Grant this through Christ our Lord. Amen. And together let us pray the words that Christ himself taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you. And now, Miss Poley. She's going to do all the work. All I do is welcome you and introduce the people who pray. That's all I do.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to begin, as Father did, by thanking you all for coming. I can't tell you how incredibly excited I am. A week from today, we get to welcome children back in the building. There haven't been children in that building for almost 6 months, and it's been incredibly quiet and strange to be in that building without hearing their voices, so I am delighted that you are giving us, by your trust and support, the opportunity to bring those kids back. I guess I'll talk about the elephant in the room for a minute. This is not going to be a normal school year. I don't know that I can tell you what will change, when it will change, how it will change. All I do know from the history of this pandemic, things will change. But I promise you that we will get through it together. Whatever comes our way, we will deal with it. I will say it probably several times during this talk. Communication is always important, but I think this year, communication will become key, vital. Us to you and you to us. We're going to be trying some things and doing some things that are unprecedented in our school. They will only be a success and can be a success if you give us feedback and let us know what is working and what is not working. I know you will do that, and I know we will accept it and work with it and do whatever we can to fix it. I'm a strong believer. When I was interviewing my staff, one of the things I talked about was how much I'm a believer in team and the concept of team. And that is what I have found to be one of the attributes of the Saint Anselm community. It's a spirit of partnership and teamwork. And that is what is going to carry us through this year. So I'd like to really cover 4 basic things tonight. Number 1, I'd like to introduce you to the new members of our staff and acknowledge those that are returning. I'd like to kind of recap and summarize the protocols and procedures that we've put into place. Thirdly, I'd like to talk a little bit more, maybe a little bit more in depth about what this synchronous learning is going to look like for those families that have chosen that virtual option. And finally, I'd like to leave you with maybe a few suggestions or recommendations on how you can help your children make this transition back to school. What can you do at home to make this launch back into school a successful one for your child? So I'd like to begin with introducing our new staff. If, as I call the staff members, if you could come forward and kind of stand to the left of that stand, Mrs. Popelka can get you on camera for those who are streaming us live. So let me begin with kindergarten. I would like to introduce to you Miss Sarah Oskowski. She is a John Carroll graduate. I am a John Carroll graduate, but that's not really the only reason I hired her. She comes to us with 3 years of classroom experience in a Catholic school. And what impressed me when I saw her resume and when she interviewed, at her young age, she's already been nominated and served on 2 diocesan committees to develop curriculum. That indicates to me that the people she's been working with have recognized that she has a talent and a gift for understanding how to deliver curriculum to her students. So I'm very happy that she has agreed to become part of our staff. In 2nd grade, we've hired Miss Megan Gubin. Megan is a recent graduate of Cleveland State University and a very active member in the Saint Noel Parish. Her coursework and background are strong in early childhood education, and I feel confident that she will be a strong addition to our primary team. Thank you, Megan, for joining us here at St. Anselm's. Our most recent hire, we hired her, she actually signed her contract on Friday, is Miss Samantha Burns. Samantha is a recent graduate of Akron University with a degree in early childhood education, but she also carries a degree in as an early childhood intervention specialist and a minor in child and family development. Her many talents and experiences will certainly lend something extra to our primary team. Welcome, welcome, Samantha. Our 4th grade teacher this year will be Miss Nicole Fidali. She is a graduate of Ohio University with a degree in middle childhood. That's a 4th grade to 9th grade license with a certification in language arts, reading, and social studies. Her student teaching experience was both in 5th grade and 8th grade, and I'm telling you, if she can handle 8th graders, 4th grade will be well within her bounds. Welcome, Nicole. Mrs. Catherine Zink will serve as our 5th grade homeroom teacher, and she will also assist with some subjects in 6th grade. She has 23 years of classroom experience and holds a master's degree as an intervention specialist and in gifted education. She also teaches teachers at Notre Dame College, teaching classes in differentiated instruction and teaching gifted and talented learners. So not only will she be helping us teach students, but she's also going to help teach us teach students better. So welcome, Mrs. Zink. Mrs. Nicole Pasilich will join us as our 6th grade homeroom teacher and also help with 5th grade language arts and 6th grade social studies and also religion. She comes to St. Anselm's with 13 years of classroom experience. She has a bachelor's degree in elementary education and a master's degree in reading. I am very pleased and proud that she has decided to join us this year. Welcome. In 7th grade this year, we have Mrs. Ashley Kuhn, who will be the 7th and 8th grade English, language arts, and social studies teacher. She is a graduate of Mount Union College with a grade 4 to 9 licensure in social studies and language arts. She also graduated with a minor as an intervention specialist for grades K to 12. She will be a strong addition to our junior high team. Welcome, Mrs. Kuhn. I'd like to introduce you at this point to our 8th grade teacher, who will be Mr. Nicholas Davidson. He will be our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math teacher, as well as serving as the 8th grade homeroom teacher. He is an elementary education graduate of Notre Dame College with an underdegree minor in math. He holds certification to teach math in grades 4 to 9 and carries endorsements in geometry and trigonometry. Additionally, I'm proud to say he has achieved the distinction of highly qualified teacher in the state of Ohio. That is a very rigorous program and that distinction is not given out lightly, so I'm very pleased to welcome him and his expertise to Saint Anselm. Finally, for our 7th and 8th grade science, we have hired Ms. Therese Hurley to join us. Now, Therese is an experienced teacher. She has over 13 years of experience, but what I need to share is teaching is actually her second career. She began her working career as a nurse and spent many years nursing and realized that her real passion was in education. And so for the last 13 years, she's been serving as a teacher, and I'm glad that she decided to join us here this year. Welcome, Ms. Hurley. To these new staff members, and let's give them a round of applause. I'm delighted. To these new staff members, in addition, I welcome back staff members who've been with us for, some of them for quite a while. Jackie Skotsky will remain our first grade teacher. Julie Maley will be our art teacher. Therese Rose and Aaron Gallagher will head up our preschool team. Mr. Mons will teach PE. Mr. Gorski will continue to teach music. Mrs. Naves will be our Spanish teacher, and Mrs. Michaels will continue to be our technology coordinator. Mrs. Finkbeiner will return as our intervention specialist, as well as Jackie J as our remedial reading tutor. A new person, Mrs. Debbie Mulhall, will be joining Mrs. Finkbeiner as our second intervention specialist. So I'm pleased to welcome back those people, and I think the combination of our veteran teachers and our new teachers will make us a very strong school. We're going to get the best of both worlds. I want to assure, I think there's a little concern, and rightfully so. I'm going to state that having 9 new people in the building is not necessarily what I was thinking was going to happen when we closed our doors at the end of May. However, life took this turn, and I think, I'm sure you'll agree after listening to their credentials, that we have found some very, very talented people to enter our family. Some of them new, some of them veteran. But I will assure you that we will work with our new people, with our fresh new teachers, and help them. The teachers who have more experience are there to support them, guide them, nurture them, and they're doing that very happily and cheerfully. All of us had that mentor teacher. All of us had that support when we started out, and my veteran staff is committed to making these new people successful and having the best year that your children have ever had. So tonight isn't your typical Meet the Teacher night, because if it was, I would stop talking right about now, and I would be sending you over to the building, and you would be meeting in the classrooms with the teachers, and they would be showing you their classrooms and explaining to you their procedures and their expectations. Unfortunately, because of COVID, that's not possible. We can't let people in the building. We have to kind of keep it locked down. But what my staff has done, and I think we're almost done, I think they spent the day today doing it. Tomorrow at some point, you will receive an email that will direct you to go to a link. And on that link, you will find a video from each one of these teachers, and view as many as you want or as few as you want. But each teacher was challenged to do a video that would mimic what you would have encountered had you been able to go over to their classroom tonight. So they will introduce themselves, give you maybe a glimpse of their room, talk to you about their expectations, and give you a chance to put the name and the face together. And strangely, what I like about this is your children can view that video. Normally, Meet the Teacher Night is strictly an adult event, and kids may speculate about what happens at that night, but they never really see. Well, now you can sit and watch this video together, and they can hear exactly what their teacher would have told you. Additionally, because I know that there's a little apprehension about walking into a building where there are so many new faces, we have decided that we are going to add an event to the beginning of the year, and that will happen next Monday, the 24th. And what that event will be, we're going to call it a meet and greet. And we're still finalizing it, but it's going to go something like this. From probably like 11 to 12, and then again from maybe 1 to 2, all of the teachers, all of the staff will go to our backyard. We have a big, beautiful backyard, and we have a couple of tents set up. And what we're going to do is put out some tables, and the teachers will be at those tables, behind those tables, and we're inviting you and your children to stop by and just say hi. Just introduce yourselves, let the children meet their teacher. If you would like to bring the supplies that you have for the year and drop them off then, that will be fine. But the idea is that we're trying to give you the opportunity to have your children and yourself encounter the teachers before that first day of school. So maybe there's a little less nervousness about walking into the building that first day. So you will get more details. I will look for my Thursday update. In the Thursday update, I promise you there will be some more specific details about this event. But I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you had to make some plans to be able to make that event. Okay, so let's move on to the precautions and just summarize what will look different in the building this year. What will school look like this year? I was listening to John Husted on the radio that he was being interviewed a few days ago, and a question was asked of him of, okay, so how do you feel about school starting up? Do you feel it's safe? Do you feel it's the right move? And he answered, and this is stuck in my head. He said, yes, I do think it can be safely done, providing that the school that is opening follows 4 ups. I thought, what is 4 ups? Well, the 4 ups that he expects us to follow are mask up, back up, wash up, and clean up. And after he said that, I reread our plan just to make sure, and I believe deep in my heart that we have covered the 4 ups. So the first one, and the one that seems to be causing the most controversy, if you will, is the mask up. The mandate has gone out from the governor, and what he's saying is all students in grades K through 12 need to wear a mask all day in school. I know that there are children out there who are going to find that challenging, but I'm here to tell you that they will not have to wear masks every single minute of the day. My staff has been working and will be sharing with you, probably within the next day or two, a schedule that we will follow. And one of the things that they are all grade levels are building into the schedule are mask breaks. We are allowed, I talked to the county health commissioner and also to our nurse liaison from university hospitals. As long as the children are outside and are following a 6 feet minimum social distancing protocol, they can take their mask off when they're outside. So at least twice during the morning, so at least twice from 8:15 until noon, children will be taken outside, all grade levels, and given the opportunity for 10 or 15 minutes to take off their masks, take some deep breaths, just get some fresh air. In addition to that, when they're eating lunch, obviously, and having recess, they will not be masked. And again, in the afternoon, we will try to incorporate another 2 mask breaks. So there will be opportunities even for the child who finds it difficult. And I'll be honest, wearing a mask is not fun for me either. Fogs up my glasses, very annoying. But just know that we will do our best to make it the most comfortable we possibly can. What we will ask you to do, if you haven't already done so, is think about providing an extra mask for your child every day. Inevitably, especially with children, a mask is going to get broken, soiled, lost, something will happen. So if they have a spare one, that would be most helpful. Of course, we're going to have some extra in the school, but the problem is some of them might be a little, you might have to look for smaller ones for some of the little ones, and I don't know what our stockpile of the little ones will be. The second up is backup, and that has to do with social distancing. So the first thing we did, and we had to spend an awful lot of time doing this, is we mapped out each classroom so that the desks are 6 feet apart. And I'll tell you, I wish you could see, and maybe when you look at the videos that are going to pop up, I thought that the rooms would look really institutional and kind of dull and drab. But compliments to my staff, the rooms look amazing. They look cheery, they look welcoming. I think the kids are going to walk in and feel like they're at home. But the desks are 6 feet apart. In the few instances where they couldn't be 6 feet apart because we had a few too many bodies, what we did was we went 4 feet, but we did some physical barriers around the desk. For example, in first grade, each first grader, they're, I believe, 4 feet apart, but each first grader has their own barricade, their own 3-sided shield that will be around their desk. It has a clear view out front, but the 2 sides are plastic. And I think the 4th and 5th grade room, we're also building some wood and plexiglass barriers. So we have taken the governor's and the CDC's and the county health commissioner's guidelines, and we have implemented them. Hallways, all of the hallways throughout the entire building will be marked with these cute smiley face reminders of the 6 feet social distancing. So when kids are moving through the halls and waiting in line, there will be the visual cues, just like you see everywhere in church, to remind them to stay 6 feet apart. The one thing I think kids will notice and maybe think is the biggest difference is that instead of the students moving from teacher to teacher, so a class going to music class or a class going to art, the teachers will now have to come to the class so that we don't have to keep sanitizing new spaces and the risk of passing along the virus is minimized. The only exception to that, because the space is so large and we can really social distance so well, is phys ed. The children will actually go to PE class and we'll probably do 12 feet social distancing in that space because we can. Visitors will be limited to the building. And again, we had lunch proctors, we had mystery readers, we had all kinds of people coming through the building during the course of a day. Parents dropping off forgotten lunches and missing books and Chromebooks that were left behind. We cannot allow that to happen. So what we've done, when you come into the main entrance, the main vestibule of the school, right underneath that window that looks into the office, we have put a 6-foot table that can be wiped off. And anytime you need to drop something off that may have been forgotten, or you're just dropping off paperwork, you're going to leave it on that table. You won't even be allowed to enter into the lobby of the school. So that will be a big difference. But as I told my staff, just because visitors are limited doesn't mean that some of those things can't still happen virtually. For example, mystery readers. We can still have mystery readers. They're just going to have to do it virtually. So we're going to have to use our creativity to see how we can still invite and welcome parents into the building, even though you can't physically be there. Arrival and dismissal will be a little different. You won't necessarily see the difference, the children will. For example, in arrival, the bus riders will still enter the main doors of the school. The car riders will still enter by the kindergarten entrance. But normally, when children arrived, if it was before 10 minutes after 8, they were all ushered into the cafeteria where they sat with a couple of our staff members and kind of hung out until the 8:10 bell rang, and then they went to homeroom. Now, the minute they enter the building, they're going to have to go directly to their homeroom, where they will be greeted by their teacher, who will take their temperature before they enter the threshold of the classroom. Dismissal will still be the same. The car riders will still, your cars will still line up exactly as they did before. Buses will pull in front of the building exactly as they did before. The difference will be, and this again will happen inside the building, if you've witnessed our dismissal, when you open those two doors, it's like a sea of children just flew out the door. Our dismissal is going to have to be a little slower and a little more methodical. We're going to dismiss class by class and have the children exit as a unit and then wait till one class goes out the door and then another class will follow. And that will hold true with the buses. We'll call one bus at a time, and that way again, the whole social distancing thing, so they're not bunched up together and encountering students from other grades. Students in grades 4 through 8 will all have access to a locker now because 4th grade got moved to the big hallway this year. And I know that's very exciting. Teachers are working on a system where, yes, they will have lockers and that's where they're going to store things, but their usage of the locker and how they go back and forth into the locker will be limited and scheduled. So again, we don't have 3 kids standing side by side all going to their lockers at the same time. More than likely, students will go twice a day, once to pack up for the morning and once to pack up for the afternoon. The third up is wash up, and this is about sanitizing ourselves. So sanitizing stations have been put in the school in all of the high traffic areas. We have created some posters and signage to put all around the building and in the bathrooms, reminding us about wearing masks, washing hands, all of those protocols. The doors to the classrooms and the restrooms will all be propped open during the school day so that those high touch points, kids going and using doorknobs and handles, will be minimized. That being said, our custodian, God bless him, is going to be on a routine. He's going to probably spend most of his day cleaning. Once an hour, he's going to do a sweep around the building, and those high touch points, like the push bars on the doors, all of those will be wiped off every hour, as well as going into the restrooms and making sure that latches, doors, the handles on the sinks, all are wiped down on an hourly basis. We are going to get into the habit with our kids of washing hands whenever they get dirty, before and after eating, and that includes if they're having a snack, before and after the snack, after using the restroom, and then additionally at regularly scheduled times during the course of the school day. The final up is cleanup, and I want to publicly thank Mrs. Popelka for all the work that she has done this summer, buying things and researching things and finding things that are going to help create a cleaner environment. So as I mentioned, our custodian is going to teach or walk around and clean all those high touch point areas as well as the restrooms. Each evening we have purchased an electrostatic cleaner that sprays a disinfecting solution over every surface. So every night every classroom, even though Johnny is the only one sitting at Johnny's desk, those desks will be cleaned and sanitized every day, as well as all of the bookcases, teachers' desks, whatever is in the room. Sharing of supplies among students. No more borrowing pencils, crayons, markers. Each student will have their own pouch or bin. If they need another marker, crayon, pen, pencil, they'll be given one, but it's not going to be returned. It will be theirs to keep. Again, it's a small thing, but we're building all these layers of protection, trying at every point to minimize the chance of sharing germs. Drinking fountains have been shut off. We're going to ask that you send a full water bottle with your child every day. If the water bottle does become empty, we have 2 touchless water filling stations that were donated to us, given to us by the Parent Club last year. We have 2 of them, and they're going to be put to really good use this year. Moving on to the third point, we are going to venture into something that's called synchronous learning. It's a little bit different, I think, many moons above what we did in the spring. We learned a lot about distance learning in the spring. Synchronous learning means that the students who have chosen to stay home and do school virtually will actually be in real time connected to their class. So in other words, we will be streaming live to them what is happening in their classroom, and we will be using, so let me share that 16% of our student population will be virtual. We have, as of today, 151 students registered in K-8, and 23 students will be doing virtual learning. There's minimally 1 in every class. So every classroom has at least 1 student that will be virtual. So as we were doing remote learning last spring, even before the school year ended, we realized that there were things that we could be doing better, differently, more rigorously. So even before the year ended, we were purchasing equipment to help us. So we bought iPads, which have the highest, I didn't realize it, but a very high quality camera built into them. So every teacher got an iPad. With that, we bought them a microphone and a tripod that the iPad will sit on. So what will happen in the morning, the teacher will turn all of that on. We will use Google, which is an educational platform, and when the teacher turns that on and you turn that on at home, it will connect the 2 of you, and whatever is going on in the classroom will be seen and heard in real time by the student, and the student will also be seen and heard by their classmates. So in other words, they can be part of a classroom conversation, a discussion. They can be called upon to answer a question. If the teacher puts the kids in groups to work on a project, that child can be put into that group and feel a part of whatever activity is going on. That's not to say, and because of that, let me back up a minute. During the spring, I would check in to different classes as they were going on. And in a few of the classes, what I noticed is children, and I would check in at, I don't know, 11 or 11:30 in the morning, and there would be a child, 11:30 in the morning, still in their pajamas, laying on their bed with their computer up above their head and the family dog, laying in their lap. And this is how they were going to school. Well, it occurred to me that maybe we weren't encouraging them to take school, online school, that seriously. So this year, when we do synchronous learning, the students attending virtually, I'm going to ask them to be in uniform, to be at their desk or table, to arrive to class on time. If they're not, they're going to be marked tardy as if they were in the school building. They are to be in attendance in that class the entire time. If they have to get up and go to the bathroom, they're going to ask permission just like they would if they were in school. They're not going to run out, 2 minutes into the lesson and go grab a snack and come back, or go grab the family pet and bring the pet to play. The way I explain it is, if you wouldn't do it in school, don't do it when you're on this synchronous learning network. So the teachers are working on developing a schedule, a daily schedule that will be posted and you will see. And for those students attending virtually, we expect them to follow that schedule. So when they are scheduled, so when it's math time, when it's reading time, when it's language arts time, when it's religion time, they are expected to be there, to have their materials. If there's an assignment, the assignment must be completed. They will get no extra time, no extra privilege. If there's a homework assignment or a test or whatever, it's on the same schedule at the same time with the same expectations as the children who are in person have. Because we're trying to maintain this level of sameness, there will be no difference in grading. Grading will occur, and the same grading scale and the same expectations will be applied to the children learning virtually as they are to the in-person student. I know that some of these might sound silly, but it's all about giving the students who are staying home and learning from home the idea that they are still part of the same Saint Anselm family, and that our requirements have not changed from them. And then the advantage is when they do re-enter, not if they re-enter, but at some point they will return to school. They will not have missed a beat. They will be on par, on target at the same point as all of their classmates. And that is our goal, and that is our mission. And again, this is an experiment. We've worked hard on this. We've made a lot of planning. We've done a lot of discussion and research. But again, I'm going to say it one more time. This is where communication is the key. For those of you who are dealing with the virtual learning option, we want to hear from you. We want to know if it's working. We want to know what is working and perhaps what isn't working. And I promise you, we will work to make improvements. Your feedback from last spring has gotten us to this point, so we thank you for that. Okay, so what, if anything, can you do at home to help your children with this transition to come back to school? It's been 6 months. That's a long time. That's a long time to be out of the rhythm and routine of a school. First and foremost, my recommendation to you is talk to your children. Find out how they feel about coming back or about staying home. And sometimes you have to poke at children. Have you ever got the everything's fine or nothing's wrong kind of shrug the shoulders attitude? Don't leave it at that. Poke at them a little bit. Make sure that if they have concerns, nervousness, I'll be honest, education is my life, but I can flash back to being a child. And before any school year started, I remember laying awake at night on the night before school, worried about the new teacher, and would I fit in, and would I like that person, and would they like me? So apprehension about starting a school year is normal. This year, it's even to be expected. So talk to your children and let them voice their fears, their concern, their nervousness. As they do that, listen carefully. There's a lot that's going to be different about school, and I really would appreciate if you would talk to them a little bit about what will be different. Talk to them about all the things I just mentioned will change in the school. I don't want them to be surprised when they walk into the building by anything. But as important as it is to talk to them about what will be different and kind of give them a heads up about what to expect, I think more important, talk to them about what's going to be the same. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot that is going to be typical about our school year and assure them that a lot of the things that they've come to expect will still be there. Their friends will be there. Their teachers will still care about them, work with them. Um, it's not all going to be upside down, I promise. We're trying everything we can to keep as much normal in our day as is humanly possible. The other thing is the mask thing. First of all, teach your children how to wear them properly. You know, I've gone to the store and seen the below the nose thing, the loop in one ear and letting it kind of dangle off the side of your head kind of thing. Teach them how to put it on and then teach them how to take it off properly, which is grabbing the loops and pulling it forward. But also, if you haven't already done so, we have about a week left, have them practice wearing a mask at home. Let them leave it on their face for a half hour, 45 minutes. Give them increments of time so they get accustomed to it. I realize after I wear mine for a while, there comes a point when I forget I have it on, especially if I've been wearing it for more than maybe 15 or 20 minutes. It just becomes part of the landscape. And I think because we have air conditioning in every classroom now, it's going to be a little less uncomfortable because they won't be sweating underneath the mask. Because we're going to do it in school, I encourage you to do it at home, and that is encourage frequent hand washing. Maybe every time they enter the house, make them wash their hands. Obviously before and after every meal. Maybe before they go to bed. Maybe you have regular hand washing, check-ins. But get them into the habit that they're not unaccustomed to doing that 20-minute rinsing of their hands. I have a little relative in my family, and because hand washing has become so part of her life, and the trick is to sing happy birthday. I think you sing happy birthday twice, and that's equal to 20 seconds. She finds a different person in the family to sing happy birthday to while she's washing her hands. It doesn't matter if it's really their birthday or not. She just wishes a happy birthday to random people, to her friends and family. And I thought, that makes hand washing fun for her. The next thing is something I have to do personally, and that is to get back into a regular sleep cycle, a regular sleeping schedule. I'll be honest, when that alarm rings at 5 o'clock on that first morning, that's going to be the first time I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning since March. And I've gotten used to staying up late and getting up later, and so, starting probably within the next day or two, I'm going to get back to my back to school sleep schedule. And if you do that, I think the trauma of that first day will be a little less. And also, just a recommendation, electronics and bedtime don't mix. It's a good thing to shut off the devices at least a good hour before you want to make sure that the kids go to bed. This one I didn't even think about until I read it, and that is, especially for the little ones, kindergarten, first, maybe even second grade, think about separation anxiety and the fact that your child may have some issues with leaving you. If you think about it, they haven't been out of your house, out of your sight since March. And we've all gotten used to and comfortable being at home. And even though they probably want to come back to school, the reality of being away from you and being away from you for the day after they haven't done it for such a long time, especially in little ones, could create some anxiety. So you might want to somehow gently address that and reassure them that you'll be there for them at the end of the day, that this is a good thing, they're going to see their friends, and this is just a part of a normal routine of a child's life. Finally, and this is stating the obvious, but one of the biggest things you can do to help all of us is when your child is sick, keep them home, particularly if they are running a temperature. When I talk to all the healthcare professionals, that is by far and away one of the biggest things that they said can put an end, not put an end, but slow down the spread of this virus. Let's minimize the risk, take that day or two, stay at home if you have a symptom, make sure that it's going to go away, and then return back to school. So when I sent out last week's parent update, I asked you that if you had any questions or concerns, you email them to me, and I would try to address them tonight. And so some of you did. So let me address some of the concerns. If your concern is not addressed, I'm not going anywhere after this event. I'll be standing back in the baptistry. So if you have anything specific that you would like me to talk about or know more about, by all means, come on back and talk to me, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. One of the questions I got was just exactly about this, keeping kids at home. So what happens if I wake up tomorrow and I have a sore throat or a headache or a cough? Do I have to stay home 3 days? Do the siblings have to stay home? And the answer to that is no. The answer to that is the only time you have to stay home for 3 days, that 72-hour rule, applies to a temperature. If your child spikes a temperature and it's over 100 degrees, we ask that you keep them home for 3 days, 72 hours, until they are fever-free for 3 days without medication. If they have a stomach ache, a sore throat, a sniffle, we ask you keep them home that day and then monitor it. If they are better by the next day and they don't have the sniffles and they don't have the cough and they don't have the stomach ache, you can send them to school. Children are still going to get sick. There will be colds, there will be stomach aches, there will be all of that. We're counting on you to monitor it, and if the child feels better the next day, send them to school. We are, when you call in, though, in the morning and say that, Johnny's not coming to school, we will ask you why. We will ask for the reason, and we're going to ask you to be honest, because one of the things that the Lake County or the Geauga County Health Commissioner asked is that we track that. And if we notice any trends, that we advise them of whatever trend we see. So we're going to ask you to be honest about that. Second question, kind of related to that, is, okay, so worst case scenario, what happens if someone in our Saint Anselm family, whether it be a student or a family member, tests positive for COVID? What is going to be the protocol? And I'm standing here in front of you very happy to say that should that happen and you call me and you say, I tested positive or my child tested positive, my next phone call will be to the Geauga County Health Commissioner. And at that point, he and his team will take over. Chances are that they would close the school down for a day or two. We would have to do a deep cleaning, and he would take that time and he would do the homework, the contact tracing, all of the protocols and procedures that have been given to him, and he would determine what quarantining. He would write the letters that would go out to all of our families. It would be completely handled by the county. And I have to be honest with you and tell you I'm happy with that, because I don't feel qualified to make those decisions. I wouldn't want that kind of responsibility. It's way out of my skill set, but it's not way out of his skill set. That's what he and his team of doctors and nurses are supposed to do. So rest assured, we would follow their directives. Before care and after care, there will absolutely be before care and after care. You should have received a sign-up sheet in your summer packet. If you did not and you're interested in it, please let me know and I will get you another form. Aftercare will take place in Kelly Hall this year in the cafeteria, because our cafeteria is not going to be used during the day and we need more space. Our little resurrection room, which is where the aftercare children used to meet, is way too small to socially distance even 10 children. So we're going to take over the cafeteria and spread the kids out, and each child we have enough student desks where each child will be given their own desk to sit at, and they will be spaced 6 feet apart. If your child is going to partake of aftercare, I'm suggesting that you send along with them in a bag, in a plastic bag with their name on it, toys, games, whatever that they can play with, because unfortunately the normal activities that they're doing in aftercare, they will not be able to do. They're not going to be able to share puzzle pieces or games. They're going to have to kind of play on their own. When the weather's nice, as I hope it will be now for an extended period of time, they're going to be able to go outside for a period of time and play outside. And then they'll have their normal snack, their normal homework time. But there's also, for those children who stay long enough, some playtime scheduled in. And if they don't have something that they brought from home, I'm afraid it might get a little boring for them. So I would recommend that if they're doing that, you send them with something. Lunch is another question. So if everything gets better and this pandemic kind of starts to flatten out, what is there a possibility that the kids can eat in the cafeteria and maybe even start up some modification of the hot lunch program? And the answer to that is yes, that's definitely a possibility. Every 9 weeks, we will revisit what we're doing and make sure that if there is something we can add, that we add it. But I go back to what the governor did at the very beginning of this pandemic when he shut us all down. And as he started to reopen and open things back up, he did it in phases and stages. And I'm taking his cue. That's how we have to open school, in phases and stages, and make sure that at each point we're doing it safely. So first and foremost, we've got to get the building open and make sure that the 150 children plus the 40-some in preschool can exist in that building with the protocols and procedures we have in place safely. If we've proven that after 9 weeks, then we can add something else. We can do one more activity or one more thing to bring normalcy back to the building. So yes, all of that is on the table for discussion, but first we have to live what we've already planned for at least 9 weeks. That brings us to one of my, it hurts my heart, but we will not be able to take the kids to our weekly Friday masses as a school community. It's, first of all, you see that we can't fit that many people in this church. Second, we've been directed by Tom Quaid, the health commissioner, and also our friends at UH, not to commingle classes. They are not to be in the same space. So that would be against that protocol. If you've ever been to one of our school masses, they're amazing. It's very powerful to sit in a church with a group of children. I'm going to miss that tremendously. And we will bring that back as soon as it is safe to do so. But please, Mass is only one part, a big part, but one part of our Catholic identity. We are not Catholic only because we go to Mass on Friday. We are Catholic, and we are a Catholic school because of what happens all day, every day in our building. It's the way we discipline our children. It's the way that we talk to each other. It's the way that we expect children to talk to each other. It's the religion classes that we have every day. It's the spirit of community. It's the culture and climate that we create by our example that make us Catholic. So yes, Father and I are committed that as soon as it is safe, we'll bring the kids back to Mass, and I want them in their faith families. It's bothering me that my little kindergartners won't be introduced to their big brothers and sisters right away. That's something we all look forward to. It will happen. This pandemic will end and we will have that opportunity, just not yet. Okay, so I've jabbered, well, oh, one more thing. Question came up with parents, from parents who have children on IEPs, intervention plans, children who are seen by our speech and language therapist. Those services will continue. We have set up their rooms to social distance. The children will still meet with their intervention specialists and their therapists. We'll follow, barricades and barriers. We will make it safe. But it is important that those children who have those services in place continue to receive those services, and we will do that in a safe manner. Some parting words. As I said earlier, communication this year is even more important than it ever has been. I know standing before you here tonight, before this year begins, there will be bumps in the road. That's inevitable. What we've already learned about this pandemic tells you that it's an ever-changing target. We've given a great deal of thought to our plan and to our synchronous learning plan, but we haven't lived it yet. We haven't tried it out on children yet. There may be tweaks necessary, but we will make them. We're counting on you to tell us what's working, but more importantly, what's not working. I can't promise you that this year will be perfect and smooth. I don't think any year ever is. But what I can promise you is that if you point out your concerns, share your questions with us, we will work together to solve them. We've worked together as a team since March, and I know that if we continue to do that, this year will be one of the most successful years we've ever had. Despite all the sacrifices and all the difficulties that we've endured, there's still much positive and hopeful to hang on to. That is what I choose to focus on. Tonight, let's make it our collective goal to make this the most successful and positive school year for our children. We owe them that. So, once again, thank you. God bless, and I look forward to seeing all the little angels next Wednesday. Good night.